Enter the unique world of virtual gameplay with Nintendo Virtual Boy.
It came from the third dimension with its own
世界で初めての完全立体映像ゲーム機バーチャルボーイ
Virtual Boy. See it now in 3D.
There are two reasons why someone plays the Virtual Boy. 1. To enjoy great games, such as Wario Land, Jack Brothers, Telerobox, and actually, those are all. And 2. If what you're looking for is to experience the console as authentically as possible, all you need to do is buy the console, a couple of games, and you're ready. Alternatively, you can... Actually, I don't think Nintendo cares much about this console. When they had the chance to redeem themselves and release a collection of games with the launch of the 3DS, they acted as if it never existed. And I wish it had never existed. Therefore, you just need an emulator, or RetroArch with the Virtual Boy core, and you're ready to enjoy. Oh no. So, we come to the point of this. If we're not interested in the how do we make these games more tolerable? Because if you want to play Wario Land in one go, you have to play the Virtual Boy version, whether you like it or not. I was thinking about how the colors could be changed, and I found out that the core can already change the color from red to white, which is much friendlier to your beautiful eyes. However, I didn't want to stop there, and I remembered that there were Game Boy games that were officially or unofficially converted to Game Boy Color, adding color to them. I also remembered the existence of the Super Game Boy, an interesting device that allowed you to connect your Game Boy cartridges to the Super Nintendo, enabling a color mode called Super Game Boy Enhanced, which added a frame and colorized the games. This is how I could play Pokemon Blue when I was young. However, not all games had this enhanced mode, and Nintendo thought of everything, so they created a colorization system based on the type of pixel. It turns out that the Game Boy has 4 types of color, which depend on how filled with black a square is. So, the Super Game Boy palettes took one of these 4 squares and turned it into a color. The palettes have a specific order, from the lightest to the darkest color, so it wasn't difficult to follow the pattern and create new palettes. So, I thought, not all Game Boy emulators have the SGB option. Is there a shader that replicates the SGB color effect? And it turns out, no, at least not officially. In a small conversation on the LibRetro forums, someone posted VB_colorize, a shader that took the pixel information from the game and turned it into color. Perfect. What's more, it was made for the Virtual Boy, using the first Super Game Boy Color palette. I downloaded the shader from the creator's website and didn't know how to run it. Then I downloaded the GLSL file, and there, I still didn't know how to run it. Then I noticed that the shaders had passes, and in those passes, a GLSL file was loaded. Bingo! I loaded a preset that didn't do anything and replaced the GLSL with VB_colorize, and it worked. Now the Virtual Boy was no longer painful to look at, but it was only the first Super Game Boy palette. It would be great to be able to change the colors as you wish. Right? I opened the GLSL file and found a section that seemed to map the colors. I don't know programming, but I at least know some HTML, and these seemed like colors. Or vector points. Or whatever it was, something I could modify on my own. I investigated what Vec4 was and searched for an RGB to Vec4 converter. I found nothing. But I found something that worked for me, hex to Vec3. It turns out that the difference between Vec3 and Vec4 is that Vec4 has one more digit that determines opacity. So, all I had to do was convert the chosen color through its hex code to Vec3 and simply keep the present digit for opacity. And so, I did it. I present the complete Super Game Boy palette in shader form and some custom palettes as well. All of this just to play the incredible Virtual Boy games in full color. It also works with other monochromatic consoles, like the Game Boy, although some emulators or cores like Gambat can automatically add color to the games. You can also add color to Pokemon Mini, Pocket Station, WonderSwan, or those types of consoles. Although I don't know why you would do that. It's your life, I don't meddle. In conclusion, with these shaders, it's possible to play the amazing Virtual Boy library in a more enjoyable way and to enjoy classics like Wario Land, Jack Brothers, Telerobox, Mario Clash, which is another version of Mario Brothers, Red Alarm, a very confusing 3D spaceship game, Waterworld, what? Sports games, too many sports games. None of this was worth it, right?